I'll also give you guys an overview, especially because both of you guys are here. I'll give you guys kind of an overview as to what we talked a little bit about last time because it's super beneficial information, and it's pretty general too, so nothing too difficult. We'll wait like 2 more minutes to see if anyone else comes to the door. Maybe Ben will show up. Let's see. Okay. All right. Is Paige in? Or could she hear me? Oh, okay. All right. All right. Awesome. All right, guys. So we're recording. You guys could. Okay. Let me just not say anything. So I'm just gonna give you guys an overview as to kind of what we talked about last time. So these kind of meetings, I want to be more of discussions than anything. Obviously, I should be the most informed on any given topic. So if you have a question and I can answer it, that's great. Or if you have a question, I don't have the answer, we could look it up together. That's supposed to be the point of this. I benefit, you guys benefit. Um, and we all could get something out of this because ultimately we all want to be architects. Okay, so anyway, like I said, you two aren't here, and you guys are the only two here today. So I could give you guys a little bit of an overview as to what we covered last time. And last meeting was very general. We went over the overview of the exam in itself, or all 6 divisions of the exam itself, as well as an introduction to PcM, which is one of the divisions, or practice management. It's one of the shorter tests. So let me just go over that for you because this is kind of pretty helpful to you guys, people who aren't, necessarily taking the exam next month, right? It's very informational and stuff that you probably would like to know. So let me just breeze through this real quick. I won't go into as much depth as I did last week. So the A.R.E. or Architect Registration Exam 5.0 is a multi-division exam, like I said, that is comprised of 6 different divisions, all that have their own kind of um, their own section that they study more particularly as far as the exam goes. So as far as testing format, the exam is computer-based, and that is regardless if you are taking an online proctored exam or an exam in person in your jurisdiction. So like you go to the testing board, it's still going to be on a computer. And it's, like I said, proctored at testing centers. Um, you can take the exam in any of the exams in any order. There's no specific exam order that you have to take it in, but of course there is meaning and should be meaning to which that order you take it in, you take it. Um, Material and information overlaps in some cases, um, but there is no specific order. Time and cost, each division ranges from 3 to 5 hours in length. Let me actually give you that exact time because it's kind of helpful. Practice management, which is the exam that we'll be going over today, is 65 questions and 2 hours 40 minutes long. Project management is 75 questions, 3 hours long. Programming and analysis is 75 questions and also 3 hours long. And then the two bigger ones, project planning and design and project development and documentation, are both 100 questions each and both 4 hours and 5 minutes. And then the easiest of them all, at least what I consider the easiest of them all, is construction and evaluation with 75 questions and 3 hours long. Okay, so those are the three exams, the number of questions they have, and roughly the time it takes to complete them. The exams are approximately $235 each, and that's whether you pass or fail. You have to pay $235 to buy what they like to refer to as a seat. You buy a seat at an exam, and you go and take it. And that's separate from the fee that you have to pay to your jurisdiction. For example, I am taking my tests in New York. I'm going to get a license in New York, hopefully. And I have to pay $400 as a fee to the state. And that fee covers professional licensure for 3 years. Now, although I don't have a professional license yet, that's what that covers, and you'll have to do something similar in your state or jurisdiction. Scoring, we'll skip over that. It's not that important right now, but it's important. Preparation, studying, all right. Question typology. This is a bit more informational at this point. So there's 6 types of questions that you'll find on the exam. Multiple choice, which we're familiar with. Check all that apply, we're familiar with. Quantitative, fill in the blank or fill in the blank. Hotspot questions, kind of like looking for very specific information within the question. Those are a bit new. Dragon plays, familiar with. And the one we're all least familiar with, case study questions. And I'll go over it more a little bit. I'll go over in depth a little bit more in a second, because I think it's good for you guys to know. So case study questions. I'll read this straight from the book. Each division exam includes at least 1 or 2 case study questions. The two longer exams, PPD and PDD, both have 2, while every other exam has 1 case study question. And these case study questions include a scenario, a set of related resource documents. This could be, in my experience, they've been site plans, zoning analysis, setbacks, program requirements. This is like 7 whole pages of information for a series of maybe 6 to 8 questions, right? It's really, really in depth, and a set of case study specific questions. During the exam, you'll be able to click on browser-like tabs at the top of the computer screen and flip back and forth between the case study scenario and the resource documents. The case studies will test your ability to examine and use multiple pieces of information to make decisions about scenarios that could be encountered in practice, in the practice of architecture. And we won't go into too in depth on those questions, or at least examples of them, but they are very intense, and like I said, probably the thing we're all least familiar with. Now, this is probably important here. I'll read this last bit. This is kind of my own notes as far as study guidelines go. With many years of education, you probably have a good understanding of what study methods work for you. The trick is how to apply them to the A.R.E. Unlike many courses, there's no single textbook or set of notes from which questions will be derived from. The exams are very broad and draw questions from multiple areas of knowledge. The first challenge then is figuring out what to study. The A.R.E. is never quite the same exam twice. The field of knowledge tested is always the same, but specific questions asked are drawn randomly from a large pool of questions, and the questions will differ from one candidate to the next. Because of this broad area of knowledge that the test covers, it is important to learn concepts first, then details later. For example, it's much better to understand the base ideas and theories of waterproofing than to attempt to memorize all the specific waterproofing methods and their respective details. So, that's pretty straightforward there. a good practice to keep in mind is that the more primary sources you can study, the better. And your method of study should be based on both content and the form of exam, as well as your school and work experience. Because the exam covers such a broad range of content, it cannot possibly include every detailed practice. Jesus Christ. So I kind of talked about it with everyone last time. We all are very familiar with construction documents. So, for example, we don't need to study construction documents as much. On the contrary, we all are not that familiar with business practice and practicing management of architecture, something we're all very unfamiliar with, especially in the terms of the A.R.E. And that's kind of what we're going over now. Some of this stuff is so foreign, it's like I don't even understand English. But that's why we're here, and obviously that's one of the examples of something I should be studying, or we all should be studying more. I don't think I have, and this is all stuff. Another thing is that every material that I could possibly scan, or any document or quiz I create, will be in this Google Drive. You guys could all access it. I'm reading some of this stuff straight from lesson plans that I have in the Google Drive as well, so if you want to have that open, you're more than welcome to have that open. And I have a whole kind of document dedicated to the overview of the exam. All of it's kind of helpful, especially, just to get an understanding. So that's all I'll go over as far as the intro to the exam goes. And we'll kind of get started with what I would refer to as Practice Management 1. So last class, like I said, Jesus. Last time I did an overview into PcM. And I kind of touched upon all areas of that specific exam. And real quick, I'll just say what those are. And we're going to go into one of them, in depth into one of them. So in PcM, there's kind of 5 main categories I broke it up into: business structure and policies, which is what we'll be going into today; financial management and profitability; risk management and insurance; ethics and regulations; and finally, contracts and professional service delivery. So they all kind of sound the same, even to me, and I know what it's talking about, but all very different, and there's so much to kind of absorb. And of course, what I have on the doc and kind of what I'm reading from is just notes, main topics within the topic of a topic. I mean, it's very niche and specific information at this point, especially. But even within some of these bullet points here, you could go in depth for like ever about. Anyway, I digress. We'll start off. Types of business structures. This is probably one of the most overarching themes throughout the entirety of the exam and in your own professional practice. There's 5 of them. Excuse me. There's 4 of them, and then 2 kind of subdivisions. Regardless, there's sole proprietorship, partnership, there's general partnership, and limited partnership. Limited liability company, or LLC, probably heard that before. Corporation, 2 types there: C corporation and S corporation. And then finally, joint venture. And these are all kind of business structures that you could have with a person, with a firm, if you're part of the company, if you own the company, stuff like that, if you're starting your own practice. And I'll just kind of touch on some of this stuff for each of those kind of structures. So for sole proprietorship, the definition of it is a business that is owned and operated by one individual. This one's probably the most straightforward out of all of them. It has advantages: simple to establish, startup low costs, you have complete control because you're the owner, and pass-through taxation. So some of those advantages, and I'm just kind of going over the advantages because we'll have like a practice test at the end. It's good to kind of remember some of this because some of the questions will be on that. And this is the most important stuff about the structure. So low taxes, easy startup, and personal income. It's best for small, low-risk business and sole practitioners. And I have an example here. A freelance graphic designer operating under their name, another example. And this doesn't just apply to architecture. These are business structures for all type of businesses. There's some other ones here. Small home bakery, da 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 da. All right, next we have a general partnership. And this is where two or more individuals share ownership and responsibilities. The advantages here are you have combined resources and skills, but the disadvantages here are unlimited personal liability for the partners. And you'll understand a bit more of that once we get into some of the other structures. But the disadvantages here, as well as in a sole proprietorship, is that the owners or the architects themselves have all the liability on themselves. So all their assets, all the money they own, their house, that's all at risk because they have no, that's their structure, that's their business structure. So something happens with their building, they get sued, all their stuff could be taken, right? Because that's the structure of the business. General partnership, limited partnership, kind of the same thing. Includes general partners that manage the authority and liability. And the difference here is that the risk is kind of distributed in whatever way the partners choose, and someone has more liability than the other, right? Someone could lose their house and the other guy has to pay fine, kind of stuff, something like that. I have an example, a real estate investment firm where general partners manage the business while limited partners provide capital but no management role. Okay. Now, we have a limited liability company, or LLC. This combines the limited liability of a corporation, which is what we'll get into. They don't have a lot of liability. So it combines that, the limited liability of the corporation, with the tax benefits and flexibility of a partnership. And an example of that is a small tech startup, local restaurant. The main advantage here is it's honestly a more common business structure. You probably heard of small people starting up LLCs all the time, and it's because it's really good. They have a lot of advantages. The problem with LLCs is they are hard to scale up. Eventually you move to what is next, which is called a type of corporation. And the whole thing about corporations is pretty much they have the partners and owners don't really share or take on any of the liability, but they do have massive tax advantages over sole proprietorships where the owners are taking in all the income because they're the only person in the company. Okay, so now we'll get a little bit more specific. A C corporation is a separate legal entity owned by shareholders. We're not going to get too in depth because it's kind of confusing, especially for me to explain. But the advantages are limited liability, unlimited number of shareholders, and easier to raise capital. Now that kind of differs from an S corporation. Really not important to you guys at all, but advantages are it avoids double taxation by allowing income to pass through the shareholders, and it's limited to 100 shareholders. And then finally, we have a joint venture. You guys, maybe working in your firms, have experienced this and you don't even know it. It's a temporary partnership between two or more entities to undertake a specific project. For example, you're designing a bigger warehouse or something. You design the warehouse, you draw the plans, and you need to work with an engineer. You guys create a joint venture. You guys agree upon a joint venture where you share liability only for that project. So if something were to happen with that project only, both the architect and engineer would assume liability there. There's a bunch of other advantages and kind of nuances to a joint venture, but we'll leave it at that. All right. and choosing the right structure. There's a bunch of things that go into that. You know, whatever is best for the owner and architect: liability, taxation, operational flexibility, and some of it's kind of straightforward. You're obviously, I want to open up a firm. I'm not going to start a corporation. I have no employees. You know, I have no work. So, you know, some of that's pretty straightforward. But regardless, we'll move forward. And like I said, guys, if you have questions or this is killing you, it's okay. This is very specific information. Really doesn't apply to me, even me, and I'm taking the freaking test. So anyway, we have office policies. Um, this establishes company culture, expectations, and legal compliance. So I personally have an employee manual, and I think my firm is way smaller than both of yours. And a lot of important stuff is in there. Code of conduct, code of ethics, employment terms, hours, benefits, huge thing, anti-discrimination, and grievance. Um, so we have that, and we have some operational standards, workflows, community protocols, all that stuff. That's a whole part of this exam, office policies also. Um, okay. Now, if you, I can't show you this, but you guys, if you want, you could look at this next part that I'm going to talk about, and it's organizational structures within a firm. It's on the doc called PcM Lesson 1, I think. So anyway, there are three main kind of organizational structures within an architecture firm. And also, this is my own findings here that I'm going to share. Um, from what I've learned within the exam and some other primary sources, a small firm is generally referred to as 0 to 20 employees. A medium firm is anywhere from 20 to 100 employees, and a large firm is determined as anything over 100 employees. And that holds true for some of these organizational structures. So a vertical structure, there's a hierarchical um, qualities, and it has clear lines of authority. Um, that's one of them. There's another horizontal structure, uh, flatter hierarchy, encouraging collaboration and flexibility, and a matrix structure. And it combines both of those kind of things. And if you look, if you have the doc, I'm just going to kind of describe them, just in case you don't have it open. There's a bunch of diagrams there. The horizontal structure is kind of what I'm familiar to in my firm. It's usually pretty straightforward, especially appealing to smaller firms. You have a principal, an owner, who has project managers, and they delegate work beneath them and to no one else, like me, you know, like a draftsman or something like that. Then there's a matrix organization where principal still owns it. Principal is still at the hierarchy. Then there's several project managers that that manage a project that goes through multiple people, like a designer, um, a draftsman, renderer, whatever the case may be. And then that was I was reading the wrong thing. That's a matrix organization. And then vertical organization is there too. That one's pretty straightforward also. Yeah. All right. Take a break. We get a water. Belle, stop laughing. You're not allowed to laugh. What? Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I fixed that. You got to be kidding me. No. Of course you need it. Paige, do you have access? Can you check? Because I thought I fixed this last time. You also need to request, Paige? Because I thought I fixed this. This is, oh, that's so annoying. I thought I fixed that. Sorry, guys. All right, could you see it? Check right now. Bell. Paige, did you request? Okay. Sorry, I thought I fixed this last time. It's so annoying. All right. All right, so you can. All right, good. All right, beautiful. Okay, so the document we're looking at, Bell, stop laughing. Um, all right, so the document we're looking at is in lesson plans, and then PcM, and then practice management one, and that's kind of where these diagrams are that I poorly explained. Um, anyway, there's some other very finite details in this kind of lesson plan that include project workflows. Um, I'm not going to read that; it's boring. And then we have some staffing strategies. This is important, but not to us. Full-time staff, part-time staff, freelance slash contract work, and hybrid models. All right. So that stuff is kind of boring to you and kind of doesn't apply to this quiz. But if you want, what I would like to do right now is first ask, do you guys have any questions? I'm assuming no. All right, that's good. So if you guys want, uh, Bella seems pretty staring at her screen. So you guys could open up what we're going to take is practice management 2. So if you would go back to the main Google Drive, there's going to be a tab called quizzes, practice tests, or something like that. And in there is practice management 2. It's a Google form. You should have access. Let me know if you don't. Oh, you can see it? Can you? I might have to fix something. Let me know. Can you see it? What did you say? You can see it? Can you answer the questions like regular? Let me see. Are you sure? Okay, okay. Let me. But you could. Okay, wait. Let me try to do it real quick. Okay. Refresh it real quick and just see if you could do that. If you could, if it changes. All right. Even after refreshing. Okay. All right. No, it's fine. Well, maybe at that. Let's go through it together. So we're gonna go through this quiz together. I made. All right. Well, don't do that. So I made these kind of quizzes. Some answers are from the book. Answers are pulled from all over, which is helpful because that's kind of how the test works. But um, I don't have an answer key. I kind of know the answer because, like I said, I did make it and do it on my own, but I don't remember them right off the bat. So we're going to go through it together. All right. So number one, a small architecture, and these are way easier than the last test also. A small architecture firm wants to ensure limited personal liability for its owner while maintaining simple taxation and operational flexibility. Which business structure would be the most appropriate? Sole proprietorship, general partnership, limited liability company, and S corporation. Which one do you guys think it is? LLC, Page, general partnership. Okay. All right. All right. It's fine. Well, we're gonna go once we do all the questions. You guys just see which ones you get right or wrong. And then there's also explanations for all of them that I have, so we'll go through it once more after that. All right, number two. This one is match the following business structures with their key characteristics. So there's a sole proprietorship, general partnership, limited liability company, and corporation. Now this one, um, like I said, there's a bunch of different options at the top. Click which one you think matches each. If you guys want to share what you think, you can. If you don't know at all, you could just forget about it. Whatever you guys want. It's letting you edit. Yeah, I had that problem. It's because I shared it with you and you're an editor and I gave you permission. Let me try to fix it real quick. I might be able to. If not, then you could just like practice. Sorry. I can't change it right now because I'm recording. It won't let me it's so annoying. Let me try real quick. Oh, I got it right here. Yeah, you're the only other one that could edit it. All right, I all right, I just saved the changes. All right, don't cheat now. Uh, it's not in the driving mirror. Hold up, give me a second. Sorry, guys. Okay. Yes. Okay. I published it. I don't know if it's going to be in the form again. Could you check? Belle, do you still have it? Okay. Wait, let me move it to something. Give me 1 second. Oh, so annoying. Oh. Ah. Yeah, I. Oh, there we go. Move. Boom. You get two big booms. Oh, you get five big booms. Sorry. All right, I can't figure it out. Sorry, guys. You're gonna have to just look at Bells. Oh my God, that's so annoying. Let me try one more time. If not, then wait. I'm gonna try one last time. I got my computer open, so says it's still there for me. Okay. Are you still there? Okay, okay. Um, see if you could see if you could see it in that folder. I made like a separate folder in there. Oh my god. This is so annoying. Move. Why can't I move it? Untitled folder. Are you sure you can't see practice test under two under the in that untitled folder? Try refreshing. All right. I don't know what to do. All right. It's so annoying. All right, we're gonna just continue. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Can't figure it out. All right, how do I pull you guys back up? All right, we're just gonna keep going. Number three. So this one says refer to the organizational chart below and identify the type of organizational structure and what type of organizational structure is illustrated. So this one you have to look at it. There's three options: vertical, horizontal, and matrix. What do you guys think? What you say? Which matrix? All right. All right. We'll see. Next one. All right. Number four. Which of the following are advantages of a joint venture in an architectural project? Shared risk and expense, no formal agreements, unlimited liability for both parties, suitable for large complex projects. Pick two. Oh, these are nothing. These are easy. Yeah. Shared risk and expense and suitable for large complex projects. Those sound like the qualities of a joint venture. We'll see. You never know. You never know. Hey, I didn't say you're right, so I do agree with you. Listen, I could be wrong too. I made the thing. So. Yeah, all right. Um, in an architectural practice, the document that defines the code of conduct, grievance procedures, and anti-discrimination policies is called the. So this is an example of a hotspot question. It's looking for a very specific answer with no kind of hint as to what it is, other than a blank. There's not an infinite amount of them, but do you guys have any idea as to what this could be? In architectural practice, the document that defines the code of conduct, grievance procedures, and anti-discrimination policies. Something, Something that you get when you're hired to a place. I'm just gonna work with you through this one because there's no point. Something that you get when you're hired that tells you your rules and stuff to a new job. What would that be? No, you're close. You're getting closer. You guys are both getting closer. It's like a book about. I'm like doing like the word game where you can't say the word, but you have to help the team get it. You're like right there, closer. It's like a code of conduct. There's a different word for it. Here, let's go back. Let me go back real quick to the thing that I said. In office policies, there's these things that we call that establish company culture, expectations, and legal compliance. What is it called? You guys know it. I want you to say it so bad. It's an employee manual. Employee manual. Yes, employee manual. Like I said, that's the hardest one because you really don't know. Well, there are questions like that on the A.R.E. So it's like extremely. It's like how are you supposed to know some of that stuff? Anyway, we'll move on. You could say like employee handbook, and they might think it's wrong. Something like I don't know. I don't know if they'll go that far, but stuff like that. It's crazy. All right, next question. A medium a medium. There's no. Also, I don't think I mentioned it because I mentioned it last time. There are no partial credit on any test. So, like for the example where you had to select different ones, if you get one of them wrong, it's a zero. There's no such thing as partially correct or wrong. Yeah. And there could be multiple part questions like case scenarios. If you get something wrong, the whole question is wrong. It doesn't count as a point. Yeah, for each individual question. Yeah. All right. A medium-sized architectural firm is expanding rapidly and handling more diverse projects. The firm wants to maintain flexibility in project management while fostering collaboration among departments, which is a good. I don't think I actually posed the question here, but it's supposed to say what is a good organizational structure. Medium-sized architecture firm is expanding rapidly and wants to maintain while fostering collaboration among departments. So if you have the doc open, you could look at the different organizational structures. I think it would help that you guys could, guess too. No, it is, but you're not going to remember this next week. We could take this again next week. I bet you'd get them wrong again. So I'm going to ask you next week about employee manual, and if you remember, I'll give you $5. Okay, so there you go. What do you think? PCM. What do you guys think? Matrix. All right. We'll see. All right. Which of the following is not a typical phase in the project workflow of an architectural practice? Bidding and negotiation, proposal and contract negotiation, schematic design, or client satisfaction survey. Let me read it again. You guys can get this one. Which of the following was not a typical phase in project workflow of an architectural practice? Client satisfaction survey. All right, we're going with that one. Okay. Number 8. This is another matching one. Match the staffing strategy with its advantage. We have full-time, part-time, and freelance. And there are cost-effective for smaller workloads, access to specialized short-term skills, and stability and team continuity. All right, we'll go over that one when we go over them all. All right, so next question. We have refer to the following tax characteristics. This one's very specific. Pass-through taxation, limited liability for owners, fewer formalities than corporations. Which business structure does this describe? Sole proprietorship, general partnership, limited liability company, or corporation? I think you guys could also get this one. Let me read the question again. Pass-through taxation, limited liability for owners, fewer formalities than corporations. What do you think? What do you think? Limited liability? Okay, all right. All right, last question here. All right, we got the last question here. This is a way easier kind of scenario or smaller version of a case study question. An architectural firm with 15 employees is revising its office policies to ensure clarity and alignment with its operational goals. The firm also wants to ensure compliance with employment laws and establish consistency in addressing workplace issues. Which document should the firm developing? Prioritize developing. There is project workflow chart, employee manual, marketing plan, and strategic business plan. So I'll just tell you right off the bat, this question, some of these answers seem like so vague, and so not like they could be an answer, but throughout the entirety of the exam, every single answer that they choose, whether it's right or wrong, has meaning, and they're very intentional with the ones that they put that are wrong or correct. Um, I don't know the answer to this one honestly, so I'm gonna read this again to myself and I'm gonna answer. What do you guys think? You think if I okay? Well, I like I said, I don't remember this exactly, but I think it's project workflow chart. So we'll see. All right. So can you submit and see if you have right answers? You can't submit it. Okay. All right. All right. Let me pull up the answers on my phone to make sure I'm telling you guys the right stuff. But I have the explanations here also. So I do remember most of them, or at least you know which ones are right. Okay. So for number one, if you want to scroll back to the top, I'll just run through them with you. For number one, we have a small architecture firm wants to ensure limited liability, ensure limited personal liability for its owner while maintaining simple taxation and operational flexibility. Which business structure would be the most appropriate? You guys said LLC, I think, and LLC is correct. Limited liability company. Good job. An explanation: an LLC provides limited personal liability while allowing profits to pass through to the owner's personal income, avoiding double taxation. It's, sim- it's simpler to manage than a corporation and provides flexibility, making it ideal for small firms seeking protection and simplicity. It's a very desirable business structure in all kinds of businesses. Number two, we have match the following business structures with their key characteristics. So we have a sole proprietorship. Um, oops. Sole proprietorship. Uh, what? It it is unlimited personal liability. That's the advantage there. General partnership. I don't have an explanation for this one, so I'm just going to read them. General partnership, shared liability among its partners. That one's pretty straightforward there also. Um, Limited liability company combines liable protection and flexibility, and corporation subject to double taxation. That's only with a C corporation. Very vague here with this question, but you should make a little line, I think, all the answers, like diagonal. All right, that's number two. There we go, bingo. All right, number three. Um, Refer to the organizational chart, what type of structure it is. I think you guys said matrix, right? Matrix is correct. And A matrix structure involves employees reporting to both project manager and department head and allows for efficient allocation of resources and collaboration across projects. You know, everyone has a hand in the pot. Everyone knows what's going on with the project. That's a matrix structure. Honestly, most firms probably have a little bit of both. You know, everyone knows what's going on here, there, right? Unless it's like a million people in the firm. All right, number four. Which of the following are advantages of a joint venture in an architectural project? We had to select two. Which one? Which two did you guys? Correct. Shared risk and expense and suitable for large, complex projects. Um, Joint ventures are temporary and they leverage shared resources, expertise, and risk. They're often used for large specialized projects. Formal agreements are always required, and liability depends on the agreement. So the correct answer would be the first and the last one. Good job, guys. Um, in an architectural practice, document that defines code of conduct, grievance procedures, and anti-discrimination. You guys know it. What is it called? Employee manual. There we go. No, it's next week. All right. So there you go. That's number five. Good job there. Number six, a medium-sized architectural firm is expanding rapidly and handling more diverse projects. The firm wants to maintain flexibility in project management while fostering collaboration among departments. Which one did you guys say? You guys said matrix. Matrix structure is correct. Um, the matrix structure, like I said, allows for collaboration across functional departments, maintaining flexibility in diverse projects. So that was good there. Number seven, which is not a typical phase in the project workflow of an architectural practice? You guys said different stuff, right? Or no, you guys said client satisfactory survey. That's correct. That's correct. Um, while client satisfaction. Oh, you know what? I would love to see you guys take the one that I posted last week. I swear to God, it's so hard. I went over like three times, still get it wrong. What? While client satisfaction is important, it's not a formal phase. Like you have, pre-design, schematic design, design development. Those are all actual defined um, project workflows, and obviously, client satisfactory survey is not at the end of it. So good job there. Number eight, we have matched the staffing strategy with its advantage. Um, Tell me what you guys have. Okay, so you got one of the three right. Full time is cost. So actually, you would have got a zero on that question because you got more than one part of it wrong. So full time are it's cost effective for smaller. cost effective for smaller workloads. Oh, sorry. Stability and team continuity is for full time. You're right there. Part time is cost effective for smaller workloads. And freelance is access to specialized short term skills. So you have a engineer, freelance engineer. He's been practicing a long time. You hire him for this one project, you know, so he could do these engineering drawings, very specialized, but for short term. So he's freelance, right? So that's that. All right. Number nine, we have referred to following tax characteristics: pass-through taxation, limited liability for owners, and fewer formalities in corporations. You guys said limited liability company again, I think, right? And that's correct. Limited liability company for everything we already said. Um, Combines pass-through taxation with personal liability protection. Are easier to manage than corporations. All right, lastly, we have an architectural firm with 15 employees is revising its office policies to ensure clarity and alignment with its operational goals. The firm also wants to ensure compliance with employment laws and establish consistency in addressing workplace issues. So we had some dispute here. You said you said something else. What'd you guys say? And I said project workflow chart. But of course, Paige is right with employee manual. So yeah, I thought I was gonna be right too, but nope. Employee manuals are foundational documents that define workplace policies, legal compliance, and expectations, and they help ensure consistency in addressing issues like conduct, grievances, and discrimination. All right, guys, good job. So, um, this one was probably the easiest test I'll make by far. They were all really simple, and this kind of topic, although it's very specific in its content, it's overarching to the theme of business. And we're familiar with how businesses run. You know, they have to make money, someone's in charge, da 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 da. Um, but this was a good start. I wish I would have did this one first, um, because I might have scared some people away last time. Obviously, no one's here. But if you want, you could take a look at anything else that I have in the drive. The other test is there. Also in there is explanation sheet. I'm having trouble giving you guys access to your answers and the explanations. They're supposed to come up when you get a question right or wrong. I can't figure that out yet, but hopefully I will one day. Um, but either way, the explanations are on a separate doc in the folder. Um, and shortly, I will have links to all these sessions. Um, I haven't had a good way of recording them just yet. To be able to record a Google Meet, you have to be like an administrator at like a school, like marywood.org, something like that. Um, so I record with this third-party thing, and it only records my voice. That's where all the information is really coming from anyway. But like most of it's going to be hard to sit through and watch because like the first one that I recorded was an hour and a half long. This one's an hour. It's more for my own kind of documentation and maybe to look back on, but it's there and it will be there for you guys shortly. So, um, you guys have any questions? Actually, let me stop the recording first. But go ahead. You could say your questions. Or none. So that's a good question. So, like I said earlier, there's no specific order in which handout. There's no specific order in which you have to take the exam. Okay. Good job. Yes. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I definitely